Honourable Chief Guest, distinguished members of the Parliament, respected mayors and councillors, and our wonderful, most gracious guests, a very warm good evening to all of you. My name is Hira Khan and I'm the Project Manager South Australia. On behalf of Cocoon, I would like to thank all of you for taking time to join us today for this momentous occasion. The groundbreaking ceremony marks the commencement of construction for our first 60 modern state-of-the-art houses specifically designed for high physical support NDIS participants throughout the Adelaide region. These beautiful assistive technology-ready houses will make their lives more comfortable and easier to manage. Being the project manager of South Australia, I feel immense pride in announcing that this project will cater to more than 200 NDIS participants while improving the lives of many. This will contribute to the growing South Australian economy. More than 500 jobs are expected to be generated through this project, creating various employment opportunities for South Australians. Local professionals, including architects, construction workers, builders, have already been engaged at an earlier stage in this project. I would now like to introduce you to our wonderful MC for the night. Our Master of Ceremonies tonight is Honourable Gary Hartgrave. Mr. Hartgrave is the Chairman of the Advisory Board of Cocoon, which assists our Executive Chairman, Mr. Zafar Khan. Honourable Gary Hartgrave has had over 40 years of experience in politics, media, community and business enterprise. He served in our federal parliament for almost 12 years and for over 5 years as a minister in the successful Howard government. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our MC for the night, Mr. Gary Hartgrave.
Thank you, Hira, and good evening and welcome to each and every one of you. How exciting. It seems like there's only two types of people in Adelaide tonight, those who are here and those who wish they were here. And isn't it great that so many of you have come out tonight on a cool evening for a very cool project. This promises to do so much for so many for all the right reasons. Ladies and gentlemen, I intend to be a bit like the Italian dictator Mussolini and keep this train running on time tonight, because I know everybody is busy. But through the course of the evening, I can say this, that food will be served and opportunities for you to interact with people around your table will be given. We'll put a pause in proceedings to make sure that you take up the opportunity to network. I see there's note paper there for you to also put your name and contact details on, and I suspect that Hira and Zafar and others associated with Cocoon would certainly like to be able to stay in touch with you now that you've reached out and have joined this evening's proceedings. To kick it off, as is right, because many of us come from many different places, many of us have so much that we carry in our hearts and our minds, things our parents thought were so important, they pass it on to us. That's what our culture is. I'd like to ask Mickey O'Brien to come forward to offer a welcome to Kaurna country on behalf of the oldest continuing culture in this region, the Kaurna people. Please make Mickey welcome.
Tuwela Maribunnik Tuwela Wakadapadnik Ninamani. Mani ai. So, nai Kaurna Pika Mankalankala, Marawachanga Kaurna Mina, Minyana Mani Puraji, nai Nari Kamatpi Maricha, nai Wangadi Mani the Budig, Kaurna Yatana, Irindi Yata, Tendendanga, Karawira Para, Cocoon, Bamba Bimbaya. So, welcome to my home, the home of the Miena people, or the Kaurna people, or the Adelaide Plains people. And to this beautiful place that we obviously sit today, which is along the Red Gum Forest River, known as the Torrens River. But also Adelaide being the big red kangaroo place of our dreaming, but also this is the First Nations people's capital of our nation. And I don't say that lightly, because not only do we have the kangaroo symbolised in the landscape that Colonel Light created, it also has the Kaurna shield, which I carry on my arm, being Victoria Square. But also we have the Gardi, or the emu, at North Adelaide, which is, again, to symbolic animals of this nation of ours being Australia or South Australia. But a welcome is saying hello. It's also asking you, are you good when you come to a place? Because we should be well when we come to a place, therefore welcome. But it's also saying, where have you been and what have you been doing? Because our heart and our faces tells us where we've been, but our heart tells us where to go. And that's the things that really connect us. It's the things that we share and do together, because no one person holds all the information in this nation or world. And so therefore we have to share it. Just like us as the First Nations people, the Aboriginal people, we've always been sharing our information. And the information itself comes from the land. Why? Because it's the thing that will be here before us and will continue to be here after us. And so therefore when we walk it, it connects us all. And like myself, who is wearing these gum leaves here on my shield, it's carrying that knowledge and wisdom with me. And today you might have noticed that when you entered the door, some gum leaves spread across the doorway. Why? Because they're the welcome mat of our people. And therefore, when you cross that, you know that you are coming to a place that is being inviting to you, will keep you safe, because me calling upon the ancestors of my people is asking that you are welcome in this space, that this is your home, and therefore treat it as if it is your home, and therefore it is a welcome. But I want to take that one step further, because today is obviously a special occasion for Cocoon, in not only what Gary said about this new adventure of building what is to be wonderful accommodations for those with disability, but our people considered people that had disabilities the people of high, people of importance. Why? Because they made us think higher, higher being greater knowledge, because it wasn't about thinking about the normal things of every day. So therefore they were important people in our community, and therefore we looked after them. And what's more important is also those two animals that I mentioned are interesting characters. Why? Because they really are the symbolic images of those people who in some ways consider themselves to have disabilities, and therefore represent them greatly. Why? Because we have the emu, a bird who cannot fly, and a kangaroo itself who could not only not walk, but can't walk backwards. And so therefore they carry those symbolic aspects of our people of this nation, but more importantly those who need the care of being supported when you have a disability. And so it's important that we recognise those things. And so I leave you these words, which is my unjaga, nachu ukandaya, nachu yakandaya, padnia du wadu, which is simply saying, may you continue to walk, may you sit upon, but let's please do that softly. Maybe look and observe longingly and listen quietly. And when we do those things, we do have greater learning, inquiring ears, greater knowledge, and therefore we walk together in harmony. We do that in a way that cultures should never divide us, should always bring us together, because we are one people, and it's important to recognise that, because cultures should be shared. So I can't say goodbye, I can only say see you later, because we don't have a word for goodbye. So I say to you, nakara, and Nechaya, thank you for having me. It's a privilege to be here, and please enjoy this wonderful evening together, and I'll see you all later. So nakara, thank you. Cheers.
Thank you very much, Mikey, for making us all feel very, very welcome here tonight. There are people who've come this evening from far away, from overseas, from Malaysia, from Pakistan, from Queensland, like me, and it's just terrific to be here tonight. Can we all please now stand? The national anthem of Australia will be played. Regardless of whether you are an Australian citizen or not, the national anthem of Australia is, nevertheless, a song which is played on appropriate occasions when people come together for these sorts of great events. Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem. Thank you very much, and for those of you who've noticed, my singing voice is so much different, isn't it, to my speaking voice. I'm glad you enjoyed my performance. Thank you very much indeed. A short video presentation will explain a little bit about what we're doing tonight before we move on to some of our special guests. Please enjoy this video.
The Cocoon Group is a registered provider under the National Disability Insurance Scheme, NDIS, and is developing innovative, modern SDA group homes in metro and regional areas to support NDIS participants. These modern, state-of-the-art, platinum-level houses are specifically designed for high physical support NDIS participants. These beautiful, assistive technology-ready houses will make their lives more comfortable and easier to manage. The houses provide a safe, continuous, leveled, step-free pathway from the car park to the main entrance, providing an easy access to wheelchairs. Wide automated doors have been installed throughout these houses for the convenience of the residents. These houses have wider hallways, making it easier for wheelchairs to maneuver around. Sliding automated doors lead us to spacious bedrooms. Automated window blinds have been installed throughout these houses for the comfort of the residents. Intercom unit has been installed in all the bedrooms and bathrooms for improved communication and security of the residents. Ducted reverse cycle air conditioning has been provided throughout the house with the facility of zone control in each room. Built-in robes have been provided in each room for increased storage. Each room has ceiling hoist provision for mobility of residents who require very high physical support. Keeping the privacy and comfort of the residents in mind, attached bathrooms have been provided with every bedroom. These bathrooms are highly accessible with the provision of rails throughout. Additional features include automated doors, sensor lights, and intercom unit. These houses are fully furnished with additional features including anti-slip flooring, fire sprinklers, power backup, solar panels, security cameras, and smoke alarms. These houses have been designed with a spacious living area for easy movement of wheelchairs and other recreational activities. The kitchen has been specifically designed to provide ample space to support ease of movement. Spacious and beautiful outdoor areas for outdoor entertainment. Additional features include an extra carer room with an attached bath and work desk, security cameras, wider garage, and many more for the facilitation of the residents. We can build SDE accommodation specific to your needs throughout Australia. This once-in-a-lifetime opportunity is not one to be missed.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. That's what this is all about tonight. And certainly the promise of where this project will go over coming months, the jobs that will be created, the opportunity, and indeed the dignity that comes from the realisation of these ambitions for those who will move in, is really profound and important work. And it's fair to say that all eyes are going to be on this project as it rolls out over the next few months in particular, and where it can go to from there. Innovation in the city are the people who really do want to tell and sell everything about Adelaide and South Australia. You'll know him better than I do, but I've met him today and he's a million miles an hour. He's possibly the only person I know who comes close, apart from Hira, to Zafar Khan. But I want you to welcome the ringmaster, Rick Carter, to say a few words.
Thank you for that warm welcome. It was December of last year, early in December of last year. A gentleman in this room introduced me to Mr. Zafar Khan because Zafar wanted to check out who this bloke was and work out whether he could trust him. Obviously that happened pretty quickly, and then we moved forward to working together. On December the 27th, it was my 70th birthday, and when most people are having holidays and relaxing and celebrating their birthdays, Zafar and I were meeting at the Adelaide airport and hatching big, bold plans for the future. Sorry, I'm looking for my slides, and there they are, so I'm now a bit back on track. Zafar was a guy I pretty quickly recognised as a man we needed in Adelaide, because Zafar is a guy that says, why aren't we getting on with things? Why aren't we doing things? And I guess I figured that Zafar was a guy that I needed to work with, and I set about making sure we did that, and I got Zafar engaged in Adelaide. The innovation of the city, as our little statement there says, is about bringing people together to converse, to connect, to collaborate, to drive this city forward, to make big things happen. There are great things happening in this city. They're not happening fast enough, but they are happening. Zafar is a man of great vision, and there's lots of people around who've got great vision, but he's a guy that understands that impatience is a virtue. If you spend any time with Zafar, he just wants to know why hasn't it happened, let's make it happen, and let's get on with it. But all of those things are no good without action, and this is a man of action. When we first met, we talked about the vision, I think, was we'd build 2 houses, they'd be in blocks of land in Ballarat, and we'd get on with it pretty soon. Well, that vision pretty quickly went on to 60 houses in Adelaide, and we'd make them happen very quickly. So I love the way that Zafar has big, bold visions, and I love the way that he's identified a cause and doing something about it. So often we hear people say, it's up to the government, it's up to someone else, it's up to. I can't do this because. Zafar just goes, well, we're doing it. Let's get on with it. Why hasn't it happened? Why don't these people get it? So we've gone very quickly from that problem where we've got all these young people, young disabled people living in nursing homes, to now having homes that they'll be ready to move into pretty soon. And that's all happened very quickly. As I said, we met back in December and started talking about this, and now there are several houses that have been built, people moving into those houses, and those houses are being built from the time of council approval, and there are a number of councillors in the room, when we know that councils take way too long to approve things, but from the moment the councils approve of things, 16 weeks these houses are up and ready to go. Now the builders told Zafar, I'm sure it's too hard, it's impossible. Well, he made that happen. So what happens next? Innovation in the City is working closely with Zafar. He's come on board as a sponsor of our group, and we aim to leverage a lot of what's going on in this town. If you look at this little video, This is a fly through from the other side of the street of what's happening down here. On our left is the Royal Adelaide Hospital. And if you go all the way up North Terrace, you end up at the other end at Lot 14 and the Think Lab, where we are becoming leaders in the space industry, in renewable energy and artificial intelligence, in machine learning, and in the biomedical. We have one of the best biomedical precincts in the world right at our doorstep here. So we aim to be leveraging those people. But the other thing I want to do, I talk a lot to people about the problem this city has, or this state has, in that we don't export enough. We export about 4% of gross state product. We should be exporting about 9%. So that's pathetic that so many businesses in South Australia do not export. So we're putting our money where our mouth is, I guess, and we're moving to Brisbane. Not moving to Brisbane, we're setting up in Brisbane, because talking to Zafra and talking to Gary and talking to other people, there's great opportunities between this city and Brisbane to collaborate to get more things done. So in August, we'll be kicking off our first events in Brisbane. And we would like to see Brisbane and Adelaide doing more together and doing it around a lot of the things Zafra's got planned as well. So that's about all I've got to say, I guess. That's what we're about. We're about vision, we're about urgency, and we're about action. So all I can say is that it's a pleasure working with these guys. Their hospitality is incredible. Their enthusiasm is infectious. And in finishing, all I can say is, Zafra, thank you for your decision to make this commitment to our great state. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks very much, Rick. Max Mason also is involved with innovation in the city, and the Mount Lofty Lodge is a 6-star accommodation. He's just been newly appointed as the guest relations manager, and Max is going to join us as well. A few things to say, a few things to talk about. I think there's a 6-lane highway coming between Brisbane and Adelaide after that contribution just a moment ago. So, yippee, a lot of things happening. Come and talk to us, Max.
Ladies and gents, good evening. I guess I've been really invited to speak as nothing more than an informed bystander, as somebody who is hugely enthusiastic about living in this part of Australia and about the construction of these houses and what it represents to me. After travelling the world for 10 years as a Royal Naval Officer and witnessing firsthand how quality of life varies wildly across the globe, I chose to live in South Australia because of the qualities I saw here and because of how this long-established Australian social contract ensures that those who require support can readily be provided with it. My delight at seeing what the Cocoon Group are providing to South Australians living with disabilities centres around their passion to provide that support with dignity and with respect to the highest level achievable, with as much autonomy as they can safely enable. And if a resident wants a blue wall in his bedroom, Cocoon will strive to ensure he gets just that. Their attention to details to ensure that a tenant gets more than a house, they get a home, is admirable. I believe that the Cocoon Group's work in South Australia will contribute massively to ensuring that many more people will be able to enjoy those premium qualities of life that South Australians should all enjoy. This state is striving towards excellence, and that's a mighty fine thing for South Australia. Cocoon Group, we welcome you.
Thank you very much, Max. I think we're building the sort of narrative, the case for why this is all happening and all happening here. And I think this is, of course, really what tonight's about. It's about everybody getting to know each other. I'll take a contribution now from a fellow who's been involved with a lot of very big corporations in a lot of different ways. He is advising Cocoon on how to get the message out, and I'm sure he'd be sitting here watching this with some delight. But John Dwyer is a bloke who's been involved with all sorts of companies in all sorts of ways over a few years. He comes from the Gold Coast now and very happily has joined us here in Adelaide tonight. John's involvement includes with News Limited, with Walt Disney, with Fairfax, with KFC, with McDonald's, with all sorts of people. I think I've worked for them all myself at different times, but not at the sort of levels that John has. My first job was second job was flipping burgers at McDonald's after I'd packed groceries for Woolworths, but that's a long time ago. Humbling days that they were indeed. But opportunities are not lost on people of John's calibre when he sees things that are worthy and things that are worthy of talking to people about. He grabs hold of them with both hands. It's been his track record to date, and his involvement with this organisation will ensure that this project is well understood and well focused, and also well communicating in a two-way sense between those who are doing and those who are receiving, if you like, the efforts of those who are doing. So please make welcome John Dwyer.
Good evening, everybody. Before I kick off, I thought I'd just mention what I do. I'm in the marketing and advertising game and have a reasonable history of dealing with some big businesses, and also a reasonable history of dealing with some really boring people. And guess what? Zafar is the exact opposite of boring. Zafar is he's a machine gun. I mean, he just runs at 100 miles an hour. And given the nature of my business as wow factor marketing, it's called the Institute of Wow, this guy is even teaching me some wow stuff. I have to say, though, that when we first met, I didn't quite know. When he rang up in the first instance, I didn't quite know what he did. He said, "My name's Zafar," and I thought, well, I've watched Aladdin. That would be good to meet the movie star from Aladdin, and then I realised that was a different Zafar or Jafar. And then he mentioned that his name was Khan, and I thought, well, I love cricket. I thought he was Imran Khan. And then he said Cocoon. Well, I'd watched that movie as well, so I still thought he was in the movie business. I didn't quite realise that what it was all about. Anyway, so the thing is that I have to say that the reason I'm loving the association of providing marketing advice to Zafar is because he just does stuff. He rolls his sleeves up and he does stuff. Who in the room is in the advisory game where you might be an accountant or a lawyer or a doctor or a dentist where you advise people to do stuff? Who's in the room? Put your hands up who's in the advisory game. There's one person. Terrific. I don't know what the hell you all do. What do other people do? You must make widgets. But if you're in the advisory game, the worst thing you can have is a client that just doesn't take the advice. And even though 99% of people here are not in the advisory game, so I'm wasting my time with this analogy, but nonetheless, can you imagine how frustrating it is if the doctor tells you to take the tablets and they don't take them? Well, the great thing with Zafar, you can advise him from a marketing point of view, do something, and guess what? He does it twice over. And he's an ideal client to have. And I guess I have a lot of empathy with what he's doing in this project, this wonderful, wonderful project, because some years ago I got kicked in the guts financially and we made a reasonable comeback, and I think that comeback was due to the guy upstairs who gave us a bit of a favour. I called into church one morning and just asked, is there any chance we could get back on our feet? And as it turned out, very quickly after that we had a lot of good things happen, and I decided to pay back by creating a TV show called Dreams Can Come True. And what I wanted to inspire people was that no matter how big that kick in the guts might be, no matter how bad things might be, that if you just never gave up, that your dreams would come true, okay? And Sir Winston Churchill had a wonderful speech all those years ago when he went back to the school that he actually was, when he was a child, and he gave a very famous speech, and that speech was the never, ever give up speech. And he told the kids at that particular school, never, ever, 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 ever give up. And Zafar absolutely personifies that particular phrase because, like all entrepreneurs, he's had his roller coaster ride like we all do in business, but he never, ever gives up. And when I came out from a pretty dark period at that time, pretty quickly, I'm sure it was because the guy upstairs gave me some strength, and so I decided to make this TV show. And this TV show was called Dreams Can Come True. We had Darryl Braithwaite as the host, and we just made dreams come true. If people were doing it tough and they didn't have a house, we surprised them with a house. If a little boy in a wheelchair who suffered from spina bifida had a dream to meet Michael Jordan because he was a wheelchair basketballer and he wanted to meet the biggest basketball star in the world, we took him over and we got Michael Jordan to meet him, and so on and so forth. We had the biggest stars in the world, Steven Spielberg, we had The Rock, we had, you name it, we had people fulfilling these wonderful dreams. And I have to say to you that when I finished making that TV show for Channel 10, I said to my wife, look, that was just fantastic. Can you imagine if you could actually do that every week, where you actually had a business that made money, but at the same time made dreams come true? Who in the room would love to do that? To have a business where you actually had a business that made money, but at the same time you fulfilled people's dreams? We all would. We all would. Guess what? This guy here's doing that. Zafar is doing that. He's making dreams come true. He's created a business which is making dreams come true. And for that, if you don't mind, I would just all ask you, how about you put your hands together for him? Before I go, I've got to give you a dad joke in terms of the building industry. My 6 millennial children, they're not here, but my 6 millennial children would be very disappointed if their father got up to give a speech like this and didn't annoy everybody with a dad joke. So you happy if I have a dad joke before I go? Okay, what are they going to call Bob the Builder when he retires? Bob. Okay. Can we do that again and just pretend to laugh at it? What are they going to call Bob the Builder when he retires? Bob. You know what? There's a depth to your shallowness and I like it. Thank you, Zafar, for inviting me to be part of the team to market this wonderful, wonderful Cocoon group and all the things that you're doing. I really believe it's a privilege and I'd like to say thank you for inviting me to be part of the team. Thank you, Zafar.
I sort of remembered the embarrassing time when the doctor and the lawyer bumped into each other at a function, and someone came up to the doctor and asked for some medical advice, and the doctor gave it, and the lawyer said, "Does that happen to you often?" The doctor said, "Oh, all the time, everywhere I go. People ask me for advice. They want a bit of medical advice on the side." And the lawyer said, "Oh, it used to happen to me all the time." And the doctor said, "Well, so what do you do?" And he said, "Well, I stopped giving it. I started sending them a bill every time they asked me for advice." And the doctor said, "That's fantastic. From this point on, anytime anybody comes up and asks me for medical advice, I'll send them a bill at the end of the whole process." He thought it was really terrific until the lawyer's bill arrived the next day. My daughter's a lawyer. I'm very proud of her, black sheep of the family, but she is nevertheless very, very proud of her. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a 5-minute break just so that you can talk amongst yourselves. Food is being served. We're going to come back. We'll walk our way through some of the people involved in the local team of the work that's ahead of us. So please enjoy each other's company for a few minutes. Thank you.